Canes fans, you already know. Those of you that have been living under a rock, maybe you were camping this weekend. Mikko Rantanen is a Carolina Hurricane, as is Taylor Hall. Martin Necas, Jack Drury, they're now Colorado Avalanche. And to give us the other side of the story, right? We know what it looks like from the Canes side. Everybody seems to be jacked up about it. Aarif Deen, who covers the Avalanche for Colorado Hockey Now, also hosts Ringside with Aarif Deen from Mile High Sports, is joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Aarif, thank you for joining us. I'm sure your head is spinning in a similar way to ours after that kind of a trade not long ago. What is your level of surprise? I mean, we'll just start there, right? It seems like everybody was kind of taken aback by this. Are you as surprised as we are on this end?
Absolutely. There's no other way around it. Mikko Rantanen it's one of those guys, like, he's not Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar, yes, but he's one of those guys that you never imagined would leave. It felt very much like Gabe Landeskog 3 years ago before his injuries, or 4 years ago now, when he was entering the last year of his contract. And we went into that season like, yeah, he's just going to sign at some point and all's going to be well. Like, this guy is not leaving this team. I could not stress enough how surprised I am.
How has it been justified? I think most people, right, even if you're not like into the salary cap details, you look at this and just say he's so good you don't let him leave. How has Colorado justified a trade that has maybe one of the 10 best players in the league leaving your team when you're a projected playoff team?
So it's ultimately the money part is the big thing. It's exactly what I just said, in the sense that, look, Mikko Rantanen, you can argue the exact number, but say number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, he's a top 6 through 9 player in the NHL in my eyes. Arguably somewhere in that range. Unfortunately for him, he's number 3 on the Avalanche. That's what makes it so tough. Like, if the Edmonton Oilers, in some fantasy world, the Edmonton Oilers had Connor McDavid, who they have to sign, and they had a defenseman of Cale Makar's ilk, let's say, I don't know, Quinn Hughes, and they had to give him a big contract too, it would be a lot harder to pay Leon Draisaitl. That's where the Avalanche were. It was that Draisaitl got $14 million, knowing that there's one guy on your team that's going to get at or around that number. Mikko Rantanen was reportedly asking for $14 million, knowing that Nathan McKinnon's at 12.6, and Cale Makar, as McKinnon said, might make 20, but more realistically, 15.5 million. It becomes way harder to kind of put that team together. And I think when you're Chris McFarland, you combine that with the fact that, look, the reality of the Avalanche is, since the Stanley Cup championship run, number one, they were one of the teams that they kind of got screwed with the COVID flat cap, because unlike the Florida Panthers, like the Panthers won the cup last year, saw a $5 million boost in the salary, and are about to see another 7 and then another 6, somewhere around those numbers. The Avalanche didn't get that. They won the cup in 22, saw a $1 million boost, and then another $1 million boost, and now finally a $5 million boost. So if you look at this Avalanche team since the Stanley Cup in 22, Nathan McKinnon has done otherworldly things. Mikko Rantanen has done nothing but put up 105 and 104 points. He's on pace for another 103 this year. Cale Makar has done nothing but break defensive records and put up 90 points casually. Every year is flirting with, the possibility of hitting 100. And despite those 3 guys doing otherworldly things, the lack of depth has done this team in. And right now, they're 7th place in the West. So even as an owned rental, if you're Chris McFarland, you're looking at the standings and you're saying, I don't even think keeping Mikko Rantanen as an owned rental is going to help us win a Stanley Cup. There needs to be a refresh and a reset, because if we give him the money that he wants, or anywhere close to that, we are going to continue to be the team we were in 23 and 24. We're going to have 3 players breaking records. We're going to have some solid depth pieces like Lehkonen and Taves, and we're going to lose in the second round of the playoffs. So kind of combining all of those things together, I think it was a perfect opportunity for McFarland to say, and obviously Joe Sakic, let's do a reset here, let's reallocate the dollars, and let's trust that our pro scouts can continue to do what they've done the last 5 years and find the next pieces that fit.
Aarif Deen joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, covers the Avalanche for Colorado Hockey Now. That's the previous team of brand new Carolina Hurricane Mikko Rantanen. Aarif, I'm As somebody that pays attention to the Canes and wants Mikko to sign a long-term extension with the Canes, you're throwing around some numbers. I was reading your article earlier today, and I took this quote out of there. This is his time to pounce on a league-altering deal, 14, 15 million for some guys you just mentioned. With what you know about Rantanen, obviously spending time with him and how he handles his business, do you see the possibility of him signing an extension for anything less than maybe the most per year in NHL history?
By much anymore. Like, the reality with these types of players, if he was going to stay with the Avalanche, and you've probably seen the quotes by now, there's been 2 or 3 articles written about it. He has said, I was willing to take below market value to remain with the Avalanche, without getting into specifics, and nobody really knows what that number is. But now that this loyalty part has been taken away, ultimately his heart has been broken. Mikko Rantanen is in shock. I watched the Carolina versus Islanders game the other day, and I've never seen him look so stoic and serious faced, even on the bench. He's an intense player, but he's a bubbly guy. I didn't see it in the locker room. I didn't see it in the game. Outside of that one photo with him and Sebastian Aho kind of chuckling with each other, he's really, really hurt by this as much as anybody else is, as much as Avalanche fans are feeling. And I think that makes me feel like the loyalty aspect of everything, it's all out the door. Mikko Rantanen now is going to get market value. I think with the Avalanche, given the relationship, given the team, the history, the Stanley Cup, the homegrown talent, he would have been willing, like other stars do, to give a little bit of a discount. But once he gets to Carolina, outside of winning the Stanley Cup and feeling I can't leave here, similar to, I don't know, Sam Reinhart last year, I can't see him wanting to take much of a discount. I genuinely feel if his production continues in Carolina the way it did in Colorado, which is going to be hard, because no disrespect to the Hurricanes, Makar and McKinnon aren't riding shotgun with you anymore. If his production continues and if he has an excellent playoffs, whether Carolina goes all the way or not, I can see him going into free agency, and with the agent that he has and the fact that it's the same as Draisaitl, I can see him signing a 7-year deal, even if it's at 14.2, just something to say, I've taken the next step in that contract. But obviously this is all speculation. He could love it there. He's got Kotkaniemi, he's got Aho, he's got the Finns there, he's got Tyson Jones, he's got Sean Walker. Rod Brind'Amour is a guy that I wholeheartedly believe he's going to fall in love with. And he might like it and say, you know what, this is my new home. And whatever he was willing to take with the Avs, he entertains it with Carolina. But I just feel like that lack of that motivation to make more money is there now because of that lack of having any kind of loyalty to a team right now.
You bring up, right, he's no longer skating with McKinnon. Obviously, McKinnon's going to present and set up a lot of opportunities for those that share the ice with him. Is Mikko ready to kind of be the number one and maybe fly on his own? We see this in sports all the time where it's I don't want to be the second fiddle to anybody. I'm ready to take over my own kind of be the lead singer, if you will.
So I go back and forth on it. We saw in 2023, we saw Rantanen really take off. That was the year that Nathan McKinnon dealt with a lot of injuries. Cale Makar dealt with a lot of injuries. The Avs were decimated, and Mikko went out and scored 55 goals, had 105 points, talked to media every day. He was legitimately the captain that season. It was impressive what he had done. But outside of that, you don't see it as much. When he's relegated to a line, and when I say relegated, I mean Bednar just shaking things up, where he plays, let's say, with Lehkonen and Middlestat. His numbers take a dip as compared to when he's playing with McKinnon. Or let me say this, his 5-on-5 numbers take a dip because on the power play, he's always riding shotgun with Nate and Mikko, or with Nate and Cale. So I'm really curious what kind of player he's going to be. Do I expect him to fall completely off the grid like Jonathan Huberdeau? No, absolutely not. But I wonder if without the Avalanche organization, he's more of an 85 to 95 point player. And the ice time he was getting, I know Rod Brind'Amour isn't a big fan of playing, his top guys that much, as compared to Jared Bednar when he has the talent at the top. Martin Necas played 25 minutes, 6 hours after waking up to, get traded. It was very fascinating to see the differences there. So I'm kind of holding judgment as of right now, but I do think Rantanen on his own, if he's the star player, if he's playing with guys like Aho instead of McKinnon, he could still be a consistent 45 goal, 45 assist kind of player. I just don't know if he's going to be 110 point guy without that power play, which has kind of struggled a little bit lately, but without McKinnon and Makar playing 23, 24, 25 minutes a night with him.
Aarif Deen hosts Ringside with Aarif Deen for Mile High Sports. Check it out. Aarif, before we let you go, last one. You brought up one of them. We're very familiar with the ups and downs and the goods and bads of Martin Necas and Jack Drury. What has been the reaction to the return for a player like Mikko?
It's been on and off, like good and bad. Some people see it as this is not enough for an all-star caliber player. Others see it as exactly what it is. Eric Tolsky's making a massive risk here, trading guys that are more cost-controlled. Granted, Mitch only has another year in his deal, but Jack Drury's an RFA and a couple of draft picks for a player that, as we discussed, might not even stay. So it is a little bit of a gamble there on his end, but it's also one worth making, just given where the Hurricanes have been the last 3, 4, 5 seasons, getting over the hump. I personally think, I still go back and forth. I think if you were able to lock up Rantanen for 11.75, like Friedman reported, or 12 million even, it would have made sense, and that would have been the best reality. But given the circumstances, given Cale Makar's impending contract, McKinnon's current deal, getting Necas and Drury, and really shoring up your depth and now having more playable guys, I think was the best case scenario. And the draft picks, those are pieces that, McFarland's going to ship out the door to get more, players in and continue this run that the Avalanche are on. I also look at the Avs as a team that's been awesome with pro scouting. Like Jonathan Drouin, like Martin Necas is a 60 to 70 point player on the Carolina Hurricanes. Jonathan Drouin with Nathan McKinnon has turned into a 60 to 70 point player, and he was never that. So what is he going to turn? We saw it with Andre Burakovsky. We've seen it with Nichushkin. We've seen it with guys like Devon Taves, where the Avalanche find these players and really have them take that next step. So Martin Necas is one, Jack Drury is another. Like if the Avalanche really feel like they have good fits here, I'm genuinely curious to see how much those players elevate their game. And when you mix that with what we just talked about, of maybe Rantanen's production comes down because he's not playing with McKinnon, this trade might look a lot more even in 2 to 3 years than it does now. So I believe this was the best case scenario. This was a great scenario for the hand that they were dealt. But I'm still blown away. Like the aura of Mikko Rantanen is unlike any other. It's insane to me to think that he's no longer part of the Avs.
Aarif, we appreciate you for taking the time, and hopefully we're able to catch up again soon.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.